Okay, g'day walkers. It's the bloke who walks, and welcome to the director's commentary for the ANZAC Day walk from just outside the Arts Centre down to the Shrine of Remembrance in Melbourne on ANZAC Day. For those of you who don't know, ANZAC Day is our Australia's National Veterans Day. We also celebrate in November, or Mark of Remembrance, the same as Europe and America and Canada, but ANZAC Day has a special place in Australian history, which I'm not going to be explaining in this video. And we're just coming towards the end of the intro. This video is sort of second generation video, in that it's got a 40 seconds worth of clips meant to showcase what's coming up in the walk. 2.5 second clips, plus the the call to action to subscribe. I've been doing that for some months now, and then we get into the video. It's just a way of testing to try and see if we can get more traction with viewers, and it's safe to say at this stage that it hasn't worked. Although, in fairness, people are definitely watching the first 30 to 50 seconds, but they're not sticking with the video. And it's at this point I'm going to declare that during this commentary, the aim is to well, this is easily the worst video I've produced. It's the one that I'm the least happiest with, because it just did not come out the way I intended. There's a lot of things about this video that I'm not, it's just not up to standard for me. And the first thing is that you can see at this point we're just into the first part of the walk. We're just approaching the tram stop, and you can see the camera's tilting. It's off the horizontal. There's a lot of bumping, and this is despite using the Sony ZV-1 vlogging camera with the shooting grip and having the stabilization feature enabled in the camera. And when I saw this footage, I just couldn't believe how shaky it was. Being off the horizontal is not uncommon, for reasons I'll explain later. But I just can't describe how disappointed I was when I saw the footage. I'd put a lot of planning into this particular shoot for this day. I'd had it targeted for weeks. For those of you who don't know, which is probably everybody, and I've explained this in previous commentaries, is that, and now the camera's veering off to the right. Now, the reason the camera's doing that is that I decided, rather than wave the camera around in a, standing in the one spot and doing a 360, I decided to do a big figure 8. There's no trams running. Public transport never runs on ANZAC Day down St Kilda Rd. Normally the Veterans parade will go from the centre of Melbourne. You can see St Paul's there in the distance, and behind that is the city square. Normally they'll be coming from that direction in waves, a very long procession. And normally ANZAC Day, like the weather on this particular morning, is very unlike ANZAC Day. Normally the 25th of April, without a doubt, every year is overcast, raining or drizzling. It's incredibly cold. The poor old veterans that they've served their country in the worst imaginable theatres of conflict, and they come back and the parade is always being rained on. It's horrible weather. There's there's usually good crowds. Is that a sign of the changing climate? I'll leave that up for you to decide, and we can talk about that another time. But so it seemed obvious to me to walk down the middle of St Kilda Road in the tram tracks, making a spectacle of myself. I was in smart casual gear with a high-vis vest on, and feeling quite self-conscious. I still am not used to walking around in public with a camera, but I was expecting to be pulled up by the cops or by security or by somebody, and you know, being asked to explain myself or produce ID or, you know, evidence of why I was doing what I was doing. That didn't happen. But getting back to the point I was trying to make before I interrupted myself is that I was just extremely disappointed with the quality of the footage. That, you know, despite lashing out on this Sony ZV-1 and aiming for stabilization in the filming in camera, I'm still not achieving it. Now there's a reason for this, which I've since worked out, is that the shooting grip, as handy as it is to have, I still haven't found that happy medium. I might have now. It's this was recorded on the 25th of April in 2021. Today is the 1st of September. I'm speaking to you from Lockdown Central. We are locked down again in Melbourne for the 6th time since the pandemic started, and we're heading into week 4 this week. The Delta variant is going bananas up and down the east coast, but only in New South Wales. And I'm going to stop myself there because it's just so maddening at the leadership, in the political leadership in New South Wales. But I'm not going to say anything else. It's leaked into Victoria. We are copying the backwash of that decision making and lack of leadership. And again, we find ourselves locked down. So, but I'm speaking to you on the 1st of September, and have I found a better happy medium with the filming? Possibly, but I'm still not getting traction with views. I've come to the conclusion. Actually, I'll speak about the conclusion in a minute, but I think the reason that this video turned out so poor and is so shaky is simply because I'm just holding the shooting grip in my right hand and holding it at the end of the shooting grip. So each step I take, the reverberation comes back up through my legs and my hips and my hands. So if I'm holding it with my, you know, my fingers instead of gripping it tightly, so that I don't, you know, get carpal tunnel syndrome. So yeah, it's extremely disappointing. But did I capture? I'm happy with, you know, the atmosphere was captured. Also, my walk down the middle of St Kilda Road, which pretty much ends here, like, that was very deliberate. I am still trying to work out, you know, what is it that people want to see in these walking videos? Do they want to see a camera moving subtly and, you know, stealthily in one direction forwards? They just want to see what's immediately in front of the camera as the ground is covered? Do they want to see context of the surroundings? Do they want the camera sweeping around, capturing views like this? So this filming really went against my natural instinct. I tried very hard not to move the camera from left to right, backwards, forwards. I tried really hard just to hold the camera basically in the direction I was facing at all times. I'm not sure I succeeded, but because your personality does come out in the footage, you know, what the way you want to construct a vision of what's going to be recorded. Now, this finishes the walk down to this point. Because I found myself in the midst of all these cops and security, and given just how nervous everyone is with COVID and just in general, that I decided to stop filming here. I tried hard to capture the sound of the band, and that was the point, the entry point for the veterans to walk or ride in cars. You can see a grandfather there with his little kid. And now we jump ahead to just a little bit further down the road, and I tried to be a little bit creative here with, again, the intention is to walk in a straight, dead straight line from this starting point right up to the shrine, and just trying to just make it visually interesting. I get minimal to zero feedback from viewers. I get hardly any likes or dislikes. It's really hard for me to work out from the analytics what you want to see. I don't have any doubts that I'm, doing the right thing, or I'm got a strategy that I'm aiming to. My goal at the start of the year, or even late last year, was to use Melbourne's reputation as a sporting and events and cultural capital to film on days of events. But I can tell you, well, this time last year in September was when I started this channel and creating this content, and by the end of December I was really locked into this strategy of filming events and sporting events, and just instead of walking aimlessly down streets. But none of us would have thought that we just found out yesterday that for the second year in a row, Melbourne is going to miss out on its biggest sporting event. Well, one of, not just the only, but the Australian Rules Football Final Series will not take place in Melbourne again this year for the second year in a row, and it's just gut wrenching. Well, it just takes the air out of your tyres, is one way of putting it. So what else don't I like about this video? Why am I so harsh on the result? Again, luckily for me, the sun came out at this point, which makes it a little bit more interesting. The timing, I deliberately decided to come after the parade. So at this point of the day, the parade has already been run. The official ceremonies have already been held and are over. And as we get closer, you'll notice that there's a lot of packing up, a lot of roadies and tech crew packing up equipment. In the next couple of minutes, the camera will move to the left, and we'll be waiting for a broadcast vehicle to pass us. I didn't enjoy this particular point because, again, these people, they got up that day. They weren't planning to be filmed. They don't, I just feel that nobody wants to end up on YouTube. From my point of view, fair enough, we're out in public and people are going about their business. But anyway, so so I was trying to be as respectful as I could, and I was hoping like hell that there'd be no kids wandering in front of the camera, because I am loath. I just do not want to film kids. You can get into some pretty tricky territory there, and I don't want to film any kids without permission. But happy to, so long as they got their backs to the camera, no problem. What else don't I like about this video? Well, when I first edited this video, and I'm probably jumping ahead here, but something happened in the edit process where I've had this happen once before, where the footage froze at a certain point, and you could hear the audio, but the footage was frozen. And the annoying thing about that is that because I'm trying to produce the highest quality edit, on this laptop it takes about it says it takes about 2 hours to render, but the other night I was sitting here doing the render and post production for the for one of the laneways videos, and I started at 2. The video, the internet disconnected, and then I had to restart it at 4. I was still sitting at the desk at midnight when it finally finished. So yeah, that was frustrating. What are the other things I don't like about this video? I'm not sure that the Sony, as good as it is, it just doesn't seem to produce the sharpest image. Now, I'm not a tech person, and I really just a point and shoot type operator. The Sony does have, I always record in auto settings, so that the Sony is constantly correcting itself, and the most annoying aspect of it doing that is that I found with some night walks that I did, I didn't realise until I saw the footage later that you know, it's constantly correcting itself, so that some footage of lights and whatever in, you know, darkness, like street lights, it comes out blurry. But you can see, or for me, like this is 4K. It's recording in 4K, but at 25 frames per second. Should it be 60? I don't know. I'm not sure. Would it produce a better result? Well, yes and no. Here's a kid approaching me. Now, I wasn't too worried, and this is going to sound racist, but I wasn't too worried because certain people like, you know, photographing their kids all the time, so I wasn't too nervous about passing those people, and that's just a fact of life. So I was pretty happy with this point because it was the scenery was starting to get interesting, passing the trucks and the workers and a few more people. But again, I still don't. I'll admit for a second time, like I still don't know what it is that you, the viewer, want to see. I don't know. And do you enjoy watching a camera slowly travel in one direction for, you know, 5 to 7 minutes, and you can see what's ahead? And that part of the journey for you? I don't know. I've researched, I've looked at a lot of, you know, maybe up to 20 to 30 different walking channels, and I can't see what makes each one successful, because they're all slightly different. They're all got slightly different, you know, way of setting their thumbnails and their titles, and like I don't really understand, you know, and quite a few of them use the same cameras, so I'm still in discovery mode. So what else don't I like about this video? Well, at this point, you know, there's more people. I'm coming up the steps. You'll see that despite my best efforts, the camera is going to shake a bit more. I was determined to film the steps just exactly like this, because I wanted this this reveal. I wanted this sense of you know, what's coming up as the camera rises up the steps. I was feeling pretty self-conscious at this point because there was plenty of people there. You can see they're just relaxing. None of them got up in the morning, you know, deciding to be filmed by a stranger and ending up on YouTube. Yeah. What else don't I like about this video? Do you know, it's I mean, it is what it is, but there's another little girl in front of me. There's a dog. I like the sky, but I don't know. It's just there's just something missing from this footage. Now at this point, the camera is going to park itself in one position where I think at this point I might be loading up a new battery. So you'll see a slight change in the footage because I changed my grip, and it's going to be the edit will come up in the next few seconds. So we're just over the halfway point of the video. So what I'm trying to convey is the sense, the context of this is a public holiday. This is a very important occasion to Australians. This is happening all around the country in all not just capital cities but country towns and things. So at this point I've changed the grip. It's not going to be as shaky, and but it's still off the horizontal. Now, for the shot composition, is this the sort of stuff people want to see? Do they want to see the camera showcasing, the different aspects of the views around? Do they want to get a sense of how big this structure is? I don't know. So I'm wheeling around here, and this is real old school. This shrine was built in the years immediately after World War One, so you can see it's got that heavy, well, almost completely British influence because of Australia up until, well, for decades. Our national identity was heavily embedded in British culture because of being settled by Britain. The architecture is of this is there's one thing about the Poms is they love their statues, and they love their they just love memorials and statues. Now so you'll see very few statues of generals around Melbourne and Sydney the way there is in London. So I'm just trying to, with the cameras waving around here, I'm just trying to give a sense of this structure is set in a park. It was built in the years immediately after World War One, because up until that stage Australia was only 14 years old as a nation when the war started, and there was just so many young guys went off and lost their lives. So that phone call was an interruption for no reason. But as I was saying, so this war memorial was incredibly important these type of memorials were incredibly important to the nation at the time, because the loss of life was just so horrific for people to take in at the time. And so what else? So continuing on this theme, what else don't I like about this video? We can see the shakiness there. Now the other thing with the way that I hold the camera, like I don't hold it up to my chest. I don't hold it in two hands. I basically hold it at my hips, again because I don't want to draw attention. The Sony ZV-1 is it's not the most inconspicuous unit that you can walk around with, and especially when it's got a shooting grip attached to it. So I'm basically walking with it at just above hip level. And this was probably in the first month after I got the camera, maybe within the first 3 weeks. I'm still getting used to it, and you can see it looks like the way that the camera's shaking, I've got Parkinson's disease, but that's not the case that I know of yet. So of the entire video, this is probably getting towards my most the part that I can cope with the most, because you can see the sky is very dramatic. Lots of cloud, lots of overcast. The way the foreground of the the structure against the sky with the city skyline in the background. You can see in the foreground there the tech guy from the broadcast crew is wrapping up his wires. And I was taking, the reason I took a bit of time here was I was trying to work out how was I going to get over the cable without shaking the camera too much, because as much as it looks easy stepping over the cable, but with these guys packing up, like they don't they don't ask permission to or say. So luckily you can see there it's just snaking out from in front of my feet and across the concrete just before I passed. This particular part maybe I should have used as the thumbnail. I don't know. I still don't know what thumbnails people want to see, and I'm still using 2 lines, usually just 2 words as a thumbnail title. I've since incorporated a 4K graphic since I got the Sony. So I don't know. Now about this stage, this is where the footage froze on the first time I tried to edit, process the rendering on the final edit. And as luck would have it, a little girl peeled around. There she goes, tripping on the cables, and she wheeled around and straight into view. There was nothing I could do to keep her out of the front of the camera. And there's another little boy pops up. So I was happy with the sky. The sun had gone away for the rest of the time I was filming. You can see the shaking there. That's just my hand. Now there was another little girl, and she's actually said hello to me and waved. Good on her. But I decided, and I do this when it's necessary. I've started to use graphics in the edit to block out kids' faces. That's how respectful I want to be of people. You just don't know who's watching this footage. You don't know what they're going to do, with screenshots, or I just can't bear the thought of somebody using my footage to exploit little kids, because I certainly wouldn't want someone doing that to my nephews. If they ended up on somebody else's footage on YouTube. So at this stage I'm starting to wave the camera around a bit more. You can see the camera went in and out of focus, which is fine. I'm enjoying the fact that this camera has the defocus feature, where it blurs out the foreground and takes in the background, and vice versa. I tried to be creative and inventive with the way I went up the steps. I tried to take advantage of the overcast conditions. You can see the Eureka Tower and the Rialto reaching into the lower clouds there. Because the other thing is, I mean, obviously I don't need to say this, I'm not using a gimbal, and I've decided not to invest in a gimbal for the Sony, because it just makes it even bigger and more awkward. And for the purposes of a walking video, I'm just not prepared to go to that next level of gear setup, because I travel everywhere on public transport and on foot as it is, regardless of whether I'm filming or not, and I don't want to be carrying around loads of gear. So at this point, as I was filming, and I'm always keen to film non-stop from end to end, and at this point I was trying to work out how to finish the filming. How was I gonna finish this up? So I was trying to take in. I deliberately didn't go inside. I was trying to take in the forecourt and the view back to the city, and just try and capture different angles. And again, the reason I'm so unhappy with this is because it's just so off the horizontal. There's so much shaking. I think in April, definitely by May and June, I was definitely starting to understand that the Sony wasn't making, the upgrade to the Sony wasn't making any difference in terms of the quality of the footage, and possibly even worse. Now, you know what I was saying before about not wanting to film kids. Well, I thought I had the perfect finish to the video here, and wouldn't you know it, the kid pops up straight into frame, and you'll hear him ask me a question about what's inside or how to get inside. He's coming up in the next few seconds, and I mean, so you can see I'm trying to block out his face. I'm trying to, and he steps straight in front of the camera. God bless him. Just doing what kids do. Good on him for having the confidence to ask a stranger a question, who looks like they know what they're doing. And he'll learn one day that adults don't always know what they're doing. And so it was at this stage I decided, well, maybe this is the best spot to finish. What you will see is as the video ends, we go into the end credits and the titles. Yeah, I suppose I've spent a lot of time complaining about the video. I've only pointed out one or two things, but yeah, just the shaking and you know, it's not that I've got the wrong camera, or it's not that like everything about these videos I'm happy with, and there's nothing wrong in the execution. There's nothing wrong in the strategy. I've now decided and realised that yeah, the Sony just isn't doing it. So I'll declare my hand here is that tomorrow I'm going to be financially able, in a position to get a new camera, a DJI Osmo Pocket, which is basically 116 grams in weight, and the width is just across, you know, your forefinger and your middle finger. And so I've been doing research on that for the last few weeks, and despite my finances being pretty average, I'm in a position where I can get that tomorrow. So there's going to be that'll take a while to filter through to the channel, but I'm determined not to give up on this stuff. I want to push it as far as it can go. I don't think there's anything wrong with the strategy, the topics, the ideas. This was one of the first videos where I incorporated again this new call to action about subscribing.
I'm the bloke who walks. Let's go. And remember to subscribe to this channel. It's all in 4K from now on.
This is the first. This is the trailer that I've put together, which has evolved since this, which I call my Let's Go trailer. And one of the few comments I've had is that somebody did pick up on that Let's Go motif, the verbal motif, and it's worked out well for a trailer that I've been cutting different clips out of different places, just trying to give some energy and show, well, this is where we're going, this is where I've been, because I do get around. In all fairness to myself, I do get around, and this is a composition of the clip. This is actually because I filmed twice in that day, and I still haven't edited and published the footy in the afternoon. I went back to the MCG a second time, and I'll put that up. I might edit that next, but I've got a few commentaries to record. I haven't done. This is the first time in 2 months that I've published a commentary. It's in terms of like recording commentaries. I haven't recorded commentaries for nearly 2.5, 3 months, so we're going to catch up on those. And the commentaries are going to change tack just slightly from commentaries about strategy to just commentaries about what we're filming. I think we're just about, yep, we've got 10 seconds to go. So thanks for listening, thanks for watching. If you've watched or listened from start to finish, or just a bit if you've watched some, but please hit like at the very least. It drives the algorithm, and subscribe would be just as good. I'm the bloke who walks. You've been listening to the commentary for the Anzac Day video, and we'll talk to you in the next video. Bye for now.
Let's go.